The Childhood of Jesus. Chapter 202. Worldliness, the enemy of the inward life. Following these words, James also bent down to the little child and inquired of him, "Listen, my beloved Jesus, my tender little brother. Once you become critical, it is almost impossible to put up with you. Would you not like to give me such a reprimand as you just gave Mother Mary? You undoubtedly can do it. But then I shall also sulk against you because you did not invite me to the game, since I would have taken part in it with all my heart." Here the little child said, "Oh, do not be concerned, James, that I shall say anything to you, for your constant attentiveness to me is well known to me. Besides, we quite often share the same fate, and there you are no better off than I am. See, when you oftentimes go out with me and then carry me home again, sometimes all the way from the city, when you have something to do there and then take me with you, no one comes to meet us. We leave without any other company, and when we come home again, not a soul comes to receive us. As we went forth alone, so also do we come back alone. And if we now and then come a quarter of an hour too late, we get a good dressing down also, and when we are at home we may not even stir if we do not want to be scuffed. And as much as is sometimes talked about all manner of things, say whether we are also counted among the interesting things which might be considered worthy of mention with a few words during the day. But when some acquaintance from the city sends word and says, "I shall visit you on Monday. Our house already looks forward to it 3 days in advance and talks about it afterwards for another 3 days. And when the friend comes, everything runs to meet him, and when he leaves, he is accompanied to the door of his house. But when we come and go, not a cat in the house stirs. Instead, the word is, when such a nimble-tongued city gossip comes here, 'James, you had better to go outside now with the little child,' and then we promptly go outside by ourselves and may not come back until it has pleased the gossip to depart accompanied by the entire house. Only when Cyrenius or Jonathan comes do we also count a little, if important considerations do not hinder it. So do not worry that I shall say something to you which could hurt you, for we both are truly treated the same as concerns esteem and love. If we do not stir during the whole day nor open our mouths, then we are well behaved, and this well behaved is in fact our whole reward. Are you satisfied with that? I am not." When Joseph and Mary heard this, they were both afraid. But the little child put them at ease and admonished, "Just a little improvement in the future. The past is over and done with." And James wept from great joy in his heart. Chapter 203. The difference between a mask and prudence. Thereupon Joseph called the little child over to himself and said to him, "I would like to be heard now. But what I have to say, I do not say because of you, but because of those who are here. For I know that you always discern my most secret thoughts, so I do not need to say anything to you. But I will say it to you, so those who are here may know what is in my heart. Now it is true that we were often as if indifferent toward you outwardly, but this indifference was only a mask of our inward love and respect for you, so you would not become known to the cruel world, who indeed knows the world better than you. Therefore no one but you will better realize that our up to now outward conduct toward you had to be thus, so we could feel certain that we would not betray you. Therefore I ask you to forgive us in those instances when our hearts seemed to be cold, but which nonetheless always glowed like the rosy dawn when we beheld you. And be assured that in the future we will also conduct ourselves toward you before others, as your inward urge will tell us to do." After thus being spoken to, the little child replied, "Joseph, you have spoken truly, but there still is a great difference between a mask and prudence. A mask makes the heart cold, but prudence warms it. Why then a mask when prudence is sufficient? Why a pretense, when one's natural wisdom offers 1,000 protective measures? Am I not the Lord whom the whole endless creation must obey at a nod, because it is nothing other than a thought firmly held in my mind, and exists as a spoken word from my mouth? And since I am the sole and only true Lord, how then should the masking of your heart be more effective toward my protection from the world than a whole world filled with my eternal power? Behold, one breath from my mouth, and the entire visible creation ceases to exist. Do you then suppose I have need of a mask over your feelings to protect myself and you from the persecution of the world? Oh no, of that I have no need. For I do not keep myself hidden from the world because I fear it, but only to avoid a judgment which would befall the world if it recognized me in its iniquity. Hence all of you should indeed be prudent in the future, so you will not bring a judgment on the world. But do not approach me with a mask, which even in its best form is an offspring of hell. And you, Mary, return to your first love, or you will have much sorrow to endure some day, because you now treat me coldly by masking your heart for the sake of the world. This word broke Mary's heart, and she seized the little child with all the power of her love, and pressed him to her heart, and caressed him with the greatest ardor of her motherly love.